Now at 10, the hunt for a serial bomber in Austin. Why investigators fear future attacks might become harder to stop.
Also, a home under construction in Houston is turning heads. Why this container townhome might be the first of its kind.
Also, a social media mystery that started with this picture. The moment it captures that had everyone trying to find that couple. But we start with breaking news tonight. The bomb squad is investigating a suspicious box found in a Northwest Harris County park. Precinct 1 says the box had a blinking light.
It was found in a park near Royal Village Road and Royal Blue Drive. That's near Highway 249 and West Montgomery Road. Some nearby homes have been evacuated. We have a crew on the way, and we'll be sure to bring you a live report just as soon as we can. But now, a homecoming you will only see here as the Channelview High School band director returns to Houston after surviving that deadly bus crash last week.
Jason Miles was there when Aaron Allison got home today, and he joins us live with this exclusive interview tonight. Jason?
Hey there, Lynn. Well, he's not home yet. He'll be in rehab for the next few weeks. Mr. Allison can't walk and only has use of one arm, but he's known for his positivity and is simply grateful to be alive. Aaron Allison isn't one to toot his own horn. You seem like a pretty humble person.
I am. I don't like publicity.
But the Channelview High band director has gotten a lot of praise for his actions during an accident that left him temporarily unable to walk.
We were very blessed with what happened. God was definitely watching over us that night because it could have been much, much worse.
Allison was near the front of the charter bus last Tuesday morning when it plunged 50 feet into a ravine off I-10 in Alabama. I've learned he tried to wake the driver who had become incapacitated, something Allison didn't want to discuss on his way into rehab.
I'm just glad that all my kids are back home, everybody came back safe. Of course, I feel awful for the driver and what happened to him.
Allison was on board one of 2 buses with 40 students and 5 other adults when their trip home from performing at Disney World ended so violently.
Basically, my entire left side is broke or rotted. Right foot is broke. This is the only thing that isn't broken in some manner.
Despite his injuries, first responder Brandon Thompson, seen here with Allison, told me last week the band director refused to be taken out of the bus until the last student was freed.
We've got 1 kid left behind, and we're hoping he's going to be back in Houston soon.
Mr. Allison, or Allie as he's known to the band,
do what you can, get better,
seems to always be thinking of them. Mr. Allison's wife, Erin, who is also a band director, was by his side tonight, as you might have seen. Counselors, meantime, were by the sides of students who returned to Channelview High from spring break this morning. By the way, I've learned that the bus driver, Harry Callaghan, will be laid to rest this coming weekend. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much for that information and update, Jason Miles. Now we want to get back to that breaking news we brought to you at the top of the newscast from Northwest Harris County, where the bomb squad was called out to investigate a suspicious package.
Let's get to Marcelino Benito. He's now on the scene with what is going on. Marcelino?
Well, and we arrived here just moments ago, and I can tell you by the time we arrived, those flashing lights, all that response, that was gone. We did confirm with neighbors that the bomb squad did come out here briefly to check out a package that was found in that park you see there. Someone, a neighbor here, phoned in a package, a box with some suspicious blinking lights. They called that in. Precinct 1 deputies responded, as did Harris County Sheriff's Office's bomb squad. Apparently, this is according to neighbors right now. They came out here. Several people were evacuated in and around the area, but they have since been allowed to come back. Neighbors say they determined that there was nothing inappropriate or suspicious or malicious about that package. This neighborhood is now back to normal. We are working to get more information from Precinct 1 about what they found here. As soon as we get that information, we'll pass it along to you. But for now, we're live in North Harris County. I'm Marcelino Benito, KHOU 11 News.
So much better to be safe than sorry at this point. Thanks so much, Marcelino. And developing tonight, we are hearing what that latest explosion in Austin sounded like when the bomb detonated last night, injuring 2 men. The audio was caught on a home surveillance camera. The homeowner lives a mile from where the blast happened. Austin police say the 4 blasts this month are likely the work of a serial bomber. The first 3 explosions came from package bombs, but it's possible the suspect watched media coverage of people being told to avoid any suspicious packages, so they switched to a tripwire in last night's attack. The show of force to help solve this case is enormous.
We continue to track down all the leads that are being called into our operations center, and those leads, again, we're hoping we'll get the right tip, we'll get the right piece of evidence, we will find something to put this case together.
The 2 men hurt in last night's blast are expected to be okay. 2 people have died in this month's bombings, including a 17-year-old boy. A former FBI agent tells us the person or persons behind these deadly acts clearly knows what they are doing.
To be able to design them to designate at certain times, either through a trigger or timing, is, to me, somewhat sophisticated. And to deploy a tripwire, to me, indicates that it is even a little more sophisticated.
Yes, it's me.
And tonight, there is still no suspect description. We're updating this story around the clock on the KHOU 11 News app.
Opening statements begin tomorrow in the highly publicized trial of Leon Jacob. Jacob is charged with trying to hire a hitman to kill his ex-girlfriend. This case made national headlines because Jacob and his girlfriend at the time, a beloved Montrose veterinarian, were both accused of plotting to have their exes killed. But shortly after her arrest, Valerie McDaniel, seen here, took her own life. Jacob insists he's innocent despite his conversations being captured on recordings with an undercover officer he thought was a hitman. The woman he's accused of plotting to kill, she is expected to testify.
Tonight, the first lawsuit has been filed following the bridge collapse in Miami, but it's not from the family of anyone who died. Instead, that lawsuit was announced by a legal team representing a man who says he was seriously hurt while riding his bicycle under the pedestrian bridge when it collapsed on Thursday. Attorneys for Marquise Hepburn say a car veered out of the way and slammed into him.
When we assess the value based upon our collective experience, we believe that the value of these claims could be somewhere between $500 million to $1 billion.
6 people were killed. A focus in the investigation is on cracks that appeared in the concrete in the days leading up to the collapse.
President Donald Trump's new plan to fight the nationwide opioid epidemic includes calling for the death penalty for drug traffickers. Right now, the death penalty is used in just a limited number of drug-related crimes. The president says, quote, if a murderer kills 1 person and gets the death penalty, so should a trafficker who kills thousands. He's also calling for greater access to treatment and recovery centers for people who abuse illegal substances and prescription pain relievers. By the way, the latest numbers from 2016 show more than 42,000 Americans died from opioid abuse.
Slowly but surely, a deputy is walking again after he was shot in both legs. 30-year-old Justin Gay still needs to use a walker and has to go to physical therapy 3 times a week. But about 4 months after he was shot 7 times, well, he is up and walking. The Harris County Precinct 4 deputy was shot while responding to a domestic disturbance in November. He has this to say to the man who was arrested and charged with pulling the trigger.
I tell him God bless him. You know, I mean, I hate that you have that much hatred in your heart, but you're only hurting yourself. You're not going to hurt me anymore.
Doctors still don't know if the father of 2 will ever walk exactly like he once did. But even if he doesn't, Gay says he'll still work for the constable's office, just not on patrol. Well, it is the latest housing trend, building entire homes out of shipping containers.
Yeah, but check this out. This container home under construction in Midtown might be the first of its kind.
Marcelino Benito talked to the man behind the house and got the very first look inside.
On a typical Midtown street towers an atypical Houston home.
This is very non-traditional, not only construction, but the home itself.
A townhouse made from shipping containers.
This is 11 containers, so for a single-family residential structure, this is the most extensive that we're aware of.
What sets this house apart isn't the containers, it's how they're stacked one on top of each other 3 stories high, including a rooftop deck that has amazing views of downtown Houston.
The Lego-like house is making heads turn, and that's exactly what Will Breaux wanted when he designed it himself.
I had the idea, knew roughly what I wanted it to look like, and I used 3D to be able to make it a reality.
His 3D rendering turned into this.
About 2,500 square feet.
And our cameras were allowed inside for the very first look. Construction still ongoing, set back a few months after Hurricane Harvey. Contractors were hard to find, so Will took it upon himself to move the project forward.
It's definitely been a labor of love. I've been more hands-on than I ever imagined I would be.
He spends about 3 days a week working on his future home.
There will be doors and windows on all of it.
Perfecting every tiny detail of the dream he's had for more than 8 years. Today it was AC installation, just another thing to check off his list as he counts down wrapping up phase 1 of the biggest project of his life.
I've never taken on something like this, but I figure, why not?
The first floor should be livable and ready for move-in in just 45 days. Standing for Houston, Marcelino Benito, KHOU 11 News.
Quite the concept. Home sweet home to him. A Houston area home that made national headlines is back on the market.
Take a look inside the so-called mannequin mansion. Up next, hear how realtors are helping potential buyers see this house without all that quirky artwork.
Plus, a photographer snaps a photo, not realizing the moment he captured. How social media helped find the mystery couple.
And why Astros fans are taking a giant leap of faith by pre-ordering fan rings for the championship team.